Hi, my name's Tamara, and I'm going to be doing this video on loving relationships or conscious relationships so that we get our partnerships that are intimate, loving relationships really right, and so that we can achieve that level of happiness, that level of positivity, that level of real exchange of love. So what I'm going to start off with is what we need to work on first. And I'm just using these Goddess Oracle cards because you will have seen some of these come out when I've done the various readings for the collective and for the eclipses, etc. And this is the first part. This is the shadow card. This has to be underway for healing. Otherwise, I think if you haven't started this healing, I don't think that there is even a possibility of achieving that balance, that consciousness within an intimate, long-term relationship. So when we heal the shadow, and we've got the two lovely quartz crystals here, showing us the male and the female. When we heal this shadow, what we get released is the wild man, the wild woman. And I'm not talking about the wildness that we achieve by taking substances here, because a lot of people are very aligned with that sort of wildness. This is the wildness that's our inner wild man, our inner wild woman, that activates naturally with joy, with energetic release, with happiness. Sorry, I've got hiccups now. This is our selfhood. This is the other side, okay? So this is all the pleasure, the joy, the fun, the games, the play, all on a natural basis here. I'm not talking about role play in sex or anything like that. I'm talking about the naturalness, the natural erotic flow that comes and the natural magic in every area of our life. But this one is the selfhood, and this is a great visual card to understand this. Our selfhood is when we have somewhat mastery of ourself, or we're walking towards that. We're working towards that by healing this shadow. So Artemis, she doesn't pick up that bow and even shoot at a target unless she knows that she's going to hit it. That's how big the selfhood of Artemis is. And this is what we're also aiming for when we heal the shadow self. And out of that comes the ecstasy. And I'm really talking about true ecstasy here. I'm not talking about fake ecstasy. Again, I have to say these things because we live in that society, don't we? Just trying to adjust this camera. We live in that society where we actually have a drug called ecstasy, which gives a kind of fake bliss, which goes off after the effects of the tablet or whatever you take is not there anymore. But this is true ecstasy, and this truly comes from having a conscious loving relationship and a sacred sexual relationship. And when I say those words, sacred sexuality, a lot of people think, what about the eroticism? What about the going towards other boundaries or stretching your boundaries? And that is so strange to hear, because those things come from people who don't understand the eroticism and the true bliss and ecstasy that you actually get. And I'm putting my hands over this one. This is the sacred sexuality card. And we'll go into that more, because when you're stretching boundaries within a conscious relationship, within a sacred sexuality relationship, you're going into intimacy. When you stretch boundaries in the world where you are closed off in your heart space, then yeah, you're gonna need to go somewhere freaky in order to get the next hit. That is not so within a sacred sexual relationship. And the eroticism is there naturally, and you can go deeper and deeper into the sacred sexuality side, the intimacy side, and not ever want anything more. So those people who totally get involved in stretching or extending your boundaries, which makes me laugh really, because I know there are people who haven't gone the other way. But it's just sad, really, because tying a woman up can be seen as a stretching your boundary in the society we live in. And that's because the man gets a hit of control and manipulation. And there are all sorts of levels of that, and it gets more and more extreme, quite honestly. Rather than getting into release, intimacy, eroticism, and absolute pleasure, joy, and ecstasy, which are much better words and much better states of being. Let's just cover this card because we may get the video deferred. And of course, we get the love. This is the beautiful card for love. So we start off with healing that shadow. We're releasing, then from there on, we have more mastery, and we release our real true selfhood, and we release our wild man, wild woman in that amazing ecstasy way, which enables us to climb all different levels in every area of our life with no fear. And of course, from that, we're getting the love, the sacred sexuality, and the ecstasy. That's just to show you a little bit about where I'm going with this. And I'm someone who has had these experiences and lived through long relationships where we are using Taoist techniques, ancient Taoist techniques for sacred sexuality. But all of this starts with contracts where you both contract to each other to work on yourselves, because this work on the shadow will probably be going on the whole of the relationship. But slowly but surely, you're going to be releasing the extremes of all this beautiful experience here. And another thing I want to again start with here, this is a phrase that actually it's an ancient greeting that when I first heard about it, I really, really related to it. And I used to use it all the time. And some people really, don't understand this and actually take the mickey out of it. But to say namaste to someone, this is what you're saying. And I think this is a really good greeting to have when you're working with each other on your relationship, when you come together. And we'll go through those practices that need working on. They don't take really that much time. It's just having that dedication to your loving, conscious relationship, and where you come together in quality time to actually work on that relationship. So namaste, what does it really mean? And we place our hands together, as in almost like prayer, and we pull our hands as we do that to our heart, and we say these words. Listen to the sound of my voice on this, because it will make you come into the now moment to truly understand this. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of truth, of peace. I honor the place within you where, if you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. There are some slightly different variations, but they really all mean the same thing. We are honoring that deep, higher self in each other. We are honoring the hearts within each other. And we also honor our life missions because we all have one. And sometimes two people can join together and be a part of each other's missions, or even a part of the one mission, but coming in with our own part of that. So when we're talking about, first of all, working on the shadow self, what we're looking to do is heal the inner child, the child that was born and then went through the childhood with very, very often quite unconscious parents. So what they did was their best. And we know that in many, many cases, in most cases really, as a therapist I see this every day, they came short of knowing how we needed to be treated, didn't they? So all of us have this inner child that really needs healing. And just a very short few words on that. The inner child is really our inspiration, our creative, magical center, our innocence. So if the past of us is still damaged, and that is damaged within the inner child, which is where it lands, in any way, if this is damaged, then we are less than we can be. We do not reach our potential in any area of our life. We may have quite a normal life, but who wants normal? What we're looking for is extraordinary now as we go towards this totally new way of being. So healing the inner child, healing our shadow self, which is portrayed here as the beauty and the beast, which it definitely is, as we go through the parts of our lives where we're not aware of what is happening. And so this is a crucial part of our wholeness. So that's just as, going around the edges of the contracts that we really need, because when we come together or we choose to go towards making that decision of having a new partnership, we need to have an arrangement of action. We need to take this seriously, not just wait and see what happens, where you find out that maybe the other person isn't as serious as you and really is just going to be in and out of the relationship, or whether the person is just going to want to have a really superficial relationship. Well, before you truly get together and you give your all to any relationship like this, there needs to be contracts. And I'm not just talking about where people go for a marriage ceremony, where they honor and obey, that women have to say their all. Or used to. Maybe they don't now. That's pretty poor. But they certainly do say vows. And I think now it's like more, perhaps more favourable to do your own vows if you're going to go that route at some point. But what we need to do is have agreements so that it arranges the course of actions that we expect during the relationship and that we both agree on. So there may be differences here for different people. I'm just looking for another piece of paper, but it's okay. So what would the first agreement be? We have the commitment to make our relationship work. Now that has to be there, doesn't it? If you are actually going into a committed relationship, so that the words are spoken. I mean, in many, many relationships, the words are never spoken. So even though the people don't live together, one of the people may think that they are in a committed relationship, and without saying the words, The other person may just think it's casual, and they have many other relationships. So that is a first commitment that needs to be spoken. We agree to have the commitment, excuse me, to make our relationship work. And that's like two in one, really, because it's not only saying, yes, we're in a committed relationship, but it's saying we want it to work. This may sound like this is like really silly, because isn't that, don't people know? But no, they really don't. I have worked with thousands of people in different countries for the last 40 years, and I can tell you that there are assumptions made all the time, thinking that you're on the same level of expectation with the person that you're in a relationship with, and then at some point they say, well, no, I didn't see it like that. So we need the agreements. Second part, we agree to do what we like to do and only what we like to do. So this is where nobody assumes that the other person is going to follow them in all their pursuits or be under their control in any way. And this is a given, isn't it? Or should be, that we would expect that. But make sure this is written in your contract. This is what new relationships need. Where you're seriously in a relationship is to actually make contracts. Third agreement. We agree to clear our space with each other, verbalize all our feelings, and to have no withholds from each other.